having that same stark realization that, making it through buds is not only the first step, but it's essentially meaningless because it's, you go from being kind of at the top of the totem pole at buds, because when you're out at the island in that last grad week, it's like you're walking around like you're the cat's ass, because all of the other guys in training are looking at you like you're Zeus.
That's right.
And then you show up to the team and they look at you like you're a rack of yard tools at Sears leaning up against the wall and you're essentially useless. And you feel it. Yeah. I mean, the level of professionalism and competency at a SEAL team is something that is truly remarkable,
And on that note, I'd like to share a couple of stories actually that have never been shared publicly. I guarantee you I am the first one to share these two stories publicly. And I'm not saying it or telling these stories because I'm trying to impress anybody. I'm trying to impress upon people just how deadly serious being at a quote unquote vanilla soft team is, or a regular SEAL team, whatever that means. I've never been to Dev Group, never tried out for Dev Group, because when we were in NSWDG stood for when Navy stays while Delta goes. SEAL Team 6 didn't do shit when we were in. Those guys, the Army played planes, trains, and automobiles. Those guys were like, we're going to take down the Disney cruise liner if somebody jumps on there. And that was their whole thing. All hostage rescue, all surgical shooting, skydive heavy, all these things, right? The regular teams, though, is more of a mixed bag of nuts. It's a truly an environment where you're a tradesman and you are a journeyman, but you're definitely not a master of anything because you just don't have enough time to put in for every single thing that you need to be proficient at, let's say. So one of these days, I'm walking down the armory, tell the guy, hey, bro, can you wear, 1,000 rounds of 9mm? Sure. And I want to say this is like a Wednesday. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, the team's kind of a ghost town, right? So I'm rolling down the stairs at 1600 down the ladder well right by the wall where you exit near the armory, where it was before. I walk in there and I'm like, hey man, let me grab my ammo. He goes, can't, bro. Balloon went up. And this is the tech in there. And I go, the balloon went up. He goes, yeah, man. Delta platoon is in isolation right now. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man, real world mission's going down right now. And I had my backpack on, was dressed, ready to lead the command. And I shucked my shit off right there. And I was like, what can I do to help? And he's like, hey, you can help me load these mags. And so, this is before the M4 SOP mod kit. So we were still using MP5s. And so right there in the Team 3 armory with 2 other techs, I am jacking these dudes' mags. Guy comes down, he goes, hey man, thanks Oz, help us out. I'm like, is there anything else I can do? He's like, no bro, we're in isolation. So I left the command. What had happened was there was a ship coming to the harbor that was delivering vehicles, just like, it happens every single day, just a massive cargo container, but it drops off a lot of ships, right? Or a lot of cars there in National City. Allegedly, the captain had been changed in port, and that captain was sympathetic to some, enemy of the United States. And they believed the intelligence was that this guy was going to play iceberg with the submarines at North Island. Because right as you come past, not North Island, at Point Loma. So right as you come into the shipping channel where you see Point Loma on your left and that lighthouse, tucked away back there is the submarine base for the fast attack submarines. That's where my dad was stationed. Only reason I even know about it. So anyway, the idea was this guy was going to crash this cargo ship into the submarines. And so in the middle of the night on a fucking Wednesday, SEAL Team 3 did a real world mission right there, right off the coast of Point Loma, boarded that ship, bitch slapped that captain, zip cuffed him. And then the harbor patrol people escorted it in, docked it safely. Those dudes were back at Command PT the next day and have never said a word about it publicly.
Dude, I had no idea that happened.
That happened at our own command.
Holy shit.
So when I tell people like, oh, you were in regular teams, and I'll tell another story that, man, I don't even know what year it was, so I don't want to misspeak about the year, but a ship leaving North Korea, true story, leaves North Korea, it has Scud missiles on board, somewhere between 10 to 14 Scud missiles. That ship leaves a harbor in North Korea. A team attaches a tracking device to it out at sea. Again, I can't say what type of tracking device, how it was planted, but it was planted. That is now tracked all the way around the Horn of Africa, everything else. Now it's sitting off the coast of Jordan, and the team boards it and takes the ship down, and they spend the next day and a half in 100+ degree weather, rolling seas, undigging a 40-foot shipping container, a couple of them that were in the hole where like cargo would go or oil would go, just like deeper into the bowels of the ship, essentially. Bags of dried concrete that were 50-kilo bags of dried concrete. And they spend like a day and a half digging this shit out. Crack the shipping containers, and inside there are the 10 or 12 Scud missiles. That mission was done by SEAL Team 3.
Really?
Yep.
And that was not your platoon?
It was not my platoon.
Damn.
That was done in the mid-2000s. That is what I try to tell people. I'm like, that is what really goes on. That's what we are actually training for. That's what we're really fucking getting our pipe hitter on for. It's not, to do the Hollywood thing, and it's certainly not what most people think that it is. That guys in regular old SEAL teams or in MARSOC or Ranger battalions, Green Beret units, Special Forces, there are some very, very dedicated recon, right? Very dedicated professionals out there. And I hate the idea that there are, I'll call them citizens, civilians, people who have never experienced what we've experienced, done one push-up on that beach, think they know what they're talking about because some dude from a tier 1 unit, can't get his ego in check. And the first thing he needs to do is go on a microphone. I don't know if you know this, but at the tier 1 level, I'm like, that's cool. Did you ever cheat on your wife? Oh, so that's what's at the tier 1 level? You're an alcoholic? You ever do cocaine on it? Oh, geez, man. You're real fucking badass. So there are some people who didn't act like that and were not that. Like, I never did a drug on active duty. I definitely got my name called every piss test when it was like, hey, man, who can not melt the cup in their hands? My hand always went up, right? I never did the after parties. I wasn't that guy. Sorry, man, I'm not that man. You know what I mean? I just lived what I like to call a quiet life of professionalism that was dedicated to the craft of being a SEAL. Like, I never wanted to be called upon and fucking let the platoon down, which ultimately led to my downward spiral, and I'll.
Yeah, but it is now an appropriate time to dig into that.
Sure. So, fast forward, we're in Afghanistan. We're the first SEAL platoon to leave after 9/11. I am 2 days from graduating the Marine Corps Scout Sniper program up at Camp Pendleton. So I went through their 10-week-long course when they had it. And I'm up there with my shooting partner. He ends up ultimately ending up in Gold Squadron. Oh, let me back up. My first platoon workup as a new guy. We are training with 1st Force Recon off the coast of Point Loma, and this adds to the story, so I need to mention it. We're training with 1st Force Recon, so now I get to see the guys that I wanted to be. Looked up to them even then. Like, I used to watch them do kill house runs, the whole thing. I was like, man, these dudes are operators. And 1999, we're off the coast of Point Loma. I think we're out at sea maybe 10, 11 miles, something like that. And we're doing ship takedown practice. And now we're mixed with our Force Recon platoon that we're going to deploy with on the ARG. I am also the last SEAL platoon that deployed as an ARG in 1999, which is an amphibious readiness group, for those who don't know. Essentially, you're attached to a Navy ship, just like the Marine Corps is. In case something goes on, you can respond when and where they need you if you're in the area of operation. But at any rate, so practicing this, broad daylight, our platoon hooks and climbs, and we're going to secure the flight deck, and we're holding on the superstructure as this CH-46 Sea Knight comes in. And as it comes in, it's a little too low, a little too fast. Its rear wheels, its rear end essentially hits the back deck of the... Now they're coming in for a fast rope, and they hit the back deck of the ship. And then it lands and again, this happens in seconds, and I brought a link to a video, so hopefully you guys will cut it in, but it hits, lays down. The pilot, I believe, in the after action report was told to power up by the person running the flight deck. This is the flight deck safety officer. So he pulls power, the bird starts to lift off, but the rear wheel is caught in the
netting, right?
In the netting.
The safety netting around the deck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the safety netting is not fabric, it is steel. And so it hooks on the wheel, and the aircraft doesn't have enough strength to break it. And so inevitably it just falls over, and you literally see the guy's feet hanging out of the hellhole because he's getting ready to fast rope. He rode that down. And so this helicopter crashes. They sound the alarm. You see the boat unit guys right behind, boat team now, but boat unit guys from boat unit 12 behind, they just dropped us off. They race up there, put their fins on, dive into the water. We run out to the end. We strip our shit off. You'll see in the video. We're throwing our life jackets into we didn't know what to do. We're throwing our Stearns life jackets into the water in case anybody pops up. The guys from the boat unit saved 3 or 4 of them from drowning to death, but 7 men went down with that helicopter.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. I remember seeing that flight deck video.
Yeah. And what's scary about it, strange about it, it bothered me I had nightmares about drowning to death. I can't even tell you how many nightmares have shooken me awake, cold sweats, just thinking about being trapped in that helicopter and that situation. And then, of course, you're up there watching it. You're helpless. And 2 days later, you're back in a helicopter, fast roping onto a ship. And every time it shook, I was like, oh my God, we're going to crash. Just the mental mind fuck. I don't know if people truly understand what it's like to work in an environment like that. Not only do you know that shit could kill you, but you just witnessed it kill 7 people. Highly respected operators, people that you were literally hanging out with at the kill house up at Camp Pendleton 3 nights before. You're doing a run, they're doing a run, And so that was a difficult thing, but it also brought home the reality of the job that we do, and that it doesn't matter what patch you have on, how shiny the thing is that you're wearing, what unit you're with, what squadron you're with. It's an inherently dangerous job, and at any moment, it's going to kill you or kill somebody you know. It's not a matter of if; it's only a matter of when. And I like that we share these stories now today because guys in our age group can kind of caution those coming behind us. And not that it stopped anybody. There's still a long line of people who want to be a Navy SEAL, but it's inevitable. Right. You're going to bury somebody and it's going to suck.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And is that related to the platoon that went to Afghanistan?
Yep. So now I'm in the 2nd platoon, all the shooting, all the sniping. I'm like, dude, this is it. No more hazings for me. I believe that my reputation was solid, at least, that I was respected, maybe not for my personality, but definitely for my, my professionalism and my operational capabilities at the time. And so that's what I just like to bring to the table. I never shared a lot of personal information about my life. I never brought my wife or my kid to the command. I really was like, no, this is my world, because I grew up in it, right? But now we're in Afghanistan. We have an incredible deployment, man. We're the first platoon that does a full deployment as SEALs post 9/11. We're, doing missions in December of 2001. Now we're in the Zawar-Kili Cave Complex, 9.5 days of patrolling. We cleared 65 to 75 caves, millions upon millions of rounds of ammo, recovered, destroyed. Mortar rounds, Stinger missiles, artillery pieces, BMPs, anti-aircraft guns. There was so much shit there. And all of it was destroyed through airstrikes. So we do all this historical stuff, right? Everything's going great. Now we're integrated with the KSK commandos. Everything's going great. And now we're like, hey man, Operation Anaconda, you guys are going to be the quick reaction force, right? Operation Anaconda happens. Neil Roberts unfortunately fell out of the back of the helicopter and is now dead. The phone rings. I'm the one that answers the emergency phone in the tent. I wake the platoon up, wake the Danish Special Forces that were with us, and now we're in 2 helicopters. I and my whole platoon was in Razor 01, which later gets shot down. The Danes are in Razor 02. we're on the bird, passing around notes, right? Chris Cassidy, our platoon commander, the astronaut, is passing around a notepad. It just has scribbled notes. One SEAL, E&E, troops in contact, be ready. This literally was like, it was, you know what I mean? So we got all of our shit, and then the Rangers pull up next to us. And we were probably a minute from liftoff. And the top 4 get out of the back of our helicopter, which is our OIC, our 2IC, platoon chief, and LPO. They confer with their head shed. LPO comes on, tells us to get all of our stuff and get off the helicopter. Great picture of us literally sitting there with all of our stuff. The whole platoon's gear is there. And now the sun is up. They had just lifted off. And that was the Rangers helicopter that got shot down on top of Tucker Gar.
Wow.
So we were like a minute and a half, 2 minutes away from being those dudes. All of that happens. We land at a forward arming refueling point of a FARP, and I believe it was FARP Texaco. Hilarious enough, we're filming this in Texas. We got the squawk box, Red Squadron lands, we all get off, and now we're sitting there waiting for this general who won't give anybody permission to go in, sit there all day. And we hear nonstop radio calls for 6 hours of these Rangers getting shot. Hey, I got another guy wounded. This guy's going to die. Where's the helicopter? And you can literally look and see the mountaintop right there. You can literally see it. And so we're a 15-minute helicopter ride away, and they won't send us. And now you got to imagine there's 50 of us sitting there listening to that all day. And it's moments like that you realize that the country really doesn't give a shit about you. You know what I mean? Certainly the people not making the calls. It becomes more of a battlefield planning. What did I learn at West Point? What did I learn at the academy? It becomes like an exercise almost. The humanity is gone out of it. But I understand why, because if you thought from a human perspective, you would make different calls, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be just moving chess pieces. You'd be moving your friends around. And I think at that level of command and control, you need to kind of like win the battle and not worry about the individual. But that's what you sign up for, right? That's why for anybody listening, stay in school. You want to be the guy calling the shots, you want to be the guy getting shot, right? Go to college. But that incident happens. 2 days later, we're like in the compound, they're doing the ceremony, and you see Neil Roberts, his fins, his UDT life jacket. Right next to his is Chapman's medical kit, their corner, like all their stuff was there. Behind him, there's the empty tent where all their cots were, and there's just filled cardboard boxes with their names on them. And you can look in there immediately, and that's your fate. That is what you're going to get. And for me, I think about a lot of things. I'm a deeper thinker. I'm not very surface level driven. I like to really kind of, decipher the combination to see what's really behind the locked door. You know what I mean? So I'm not the type that's really like, oh, it's a locked door, and I move on. I'm like, man, but somebody locked it for a reason. And I'll think about it. What could be in there, And so when these incidents happen, I spent a lot of time putting myself in those helicopters, putting myself in that situation, and really, I don't know, maybe, I won't say driving myself insane with it, but it was omnipresent. It was never in the back of my mind. It was always in the forefront of my thinking, was just how dangerous what we were doing was doing. Now, again, I have not buried my own teammate yet. You know what I mean? I was like just watching other guys from other units take what I kind of felt would have been me. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, especially at the Ranger thing, that really messed me up for a long time, because I just felt that those men died in my place and that they took a bullet they shouldn't have had to. And again, this is reflective thinking, not during the time. And now I come home from that, but I came home from that because I punched the squadron commander of the special tactics squadron, the Air Force combat controllers, Chapman's boss. So for everybody who knows about the Chapman story, I would highly recommend, before you start Slab just left them. The SEALs suck. There's a guy who was in charge of that entire task unit, in charge of the AFO, which is the Advanced Forces Operation, who those guys were attached to, named Pete Blaber, or Blabber, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. He did an incredible podcast with Brent Tucker on the Anti-Hero podcast. I don't think it's named that now. I think it's called the Tier 1 podcast, whatever the fuck's going on there. But Pete is on there, and he explains step by step, radio call by radio call, with pictures, photographs, everything. He actually has the radio calls they're making and everything. His story is vastly different than what everybody else explains. In fact, he even shows like footage that when the helicopter comes in and they're taking fire, that's commonly, that's Chapman laying down cover fire, and it's actually an Al-Qaeda fighter that's then hit with a rocket from a Predator drone. It's the first rocket fired from that Predator drone, and it kills him. And now this Al-Qaeda fighter is laying literally on top of the bunker where Chapman is at. So the video, it appears like Chapman magically awakes, but he'll also show you like, hey, there's his body, it's black because it's IR. You see Chapman's laying next to the boulder, which is now white because it's cold. And then you see Chapman as he's explaining this story. You see the black becoming whiter and whiter, like he was dead in that bunker. So I don't know if I wasn't on top of the mountain, I don't know. But again, that's the fog of war. You have a bunch of people who weren't there now looking through Predator drone feeds, video feeds, cutting them, changing them, making it the narrative they want. So it sells the story they're trying to sell for whatever narrative, for whatever reason they have, right? And I'm not saying the man wasn't a hero, because I think any man who puts a rifle in their hands and points a loaded weapon at another man and has it done to him is nothing short of a hero in my eyes. You're asking a lot of a man to risk his life for your beliefs. But anywho, so now that incident happens, we have the funeral. The bodies are casket-draped coffins being loaded onto C-17s, leaving Bagram Air Base. And now we're back in Kandahar, and this is probably 2 weeks later, something like that, 3 weeks later. We have a platoon party because we're leaving. And we're drinking, getting all fucked up. It's the first time I won't say drink in Afghanistan. It was definitely the first time I tied it on. And I was hammered. Proper team guy hammered. And that's when this like little incident happens, fight breaks out. I end up punching a man who I did not know. It's in the dark, no rank, no insignias, no names, no nothing. I end up punching this dude in his face. Well, I ended up shattering his nose. He has to have surgery. And now I'm on blast, right? Alcohol-related incident, of course. Navy SEAL, of course. It just goes to the story, right? And I got sent home 2 weeks prior to our platoon's return by Bob Harward, because he was the Commodore at the time. Bob walks into the compound. Never forget, man. He was furious, as he should have been. He just flew in overnight from Bog. Like this is the incident, man. It's not about how great, how historical. Like Anaconda now is just a footnote in this, because now there's Navy SEALs beating up an Air Force colonel. Not a good look. And it's me. Like, I can't tell you, man, how hard I worked, how I towed the line. Like I try to tell you, man, I didn't go out, I didn't drink. I never once came to the command late. I never showed up to the command with alcohol in my breath. Never once. I just wasn't that dude. I went home and shot guns, and then went home, cleaned my pistols, and then played with my daughter. I'm very much a stay-at-home family man, because now when I was on the road, I was fucking and drinking like a proper sailor should. But I never brought that home. I never went out and did it. It was nothing like that. It's kind of like, hey, while we're away, the boys will play. When I'm back, others didn't live that lifestyle. Others were just like, hey, man, I am this 24/7. Damn the torpedoes. We forge ahead. I just wasn't in that crowd. Doesn't mean that they were bad or I was good or vice versa. It was just kind of like my my personality traits. Like I say, I'm more on the shyer side. I like telling jokes, man. Don't get me wrong. I do think I could pull off stand-up comedy if I had enough balls to stand up in front of people and tell jokes when there was nothing but a light on me, right? So I land in San Diego and I check back into Team 3. And they're like, well, actually, you've been assigned to the training detachment. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, man, when you're on deployment, we redid the orders. We're forming up Team 7, so half the platoon's going to be plank owners at Team 7. I'm like, I can't be a plank owner at Team 7. They're like, no, you just punched a lieutenant colonel in his face and broke his fucking face. You're going to TRADET. And so like the XO, the CO, the whole command that I had worked for, where my reputation was, it was, hey, man, you're getting this dude. He's a fuck up. Because there's no black or white in that world. You know that. There's no, yeah, he's a good dude. He kind of made a mistake. There's not a lot of that. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you fuck up, they let you know about it. You feel it, and everybody looks at you.
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it. And you feel at that moment that your entire life, everything is under a microscope, and you can't do right by anything or anyone. And so with that one swing, and again, I just attributed that for combatives and boxing and taekwondo and all the things I did growing up for many, many years. The luckiest shot, so to speak, I just sent one down Main Street and just happened to hit him right in the bridge of his nose, and just, that was it. So, but when I came back, man, I felt that I had destroyed the operational reputation of my entire platoon. I thought that I, as a single individual, ruined 4 years of work. That those men put in 4 fucking years of work. They grinded. They did the team guy thing, man. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and at levels probably beyond what most even thought possible for the teams that we were in. And that's what it felt like. And for me, man, I felt in that moment, in that time, that I had literally ruined every single thing I had worked my entire life for.
Man.